why not to move to Canada in 2025 and possibly 2026? Many people in Canada leave Canada. Yes, Canadians and immigrants, they are leaving Canada. I give you an example. There have been Filipinos who came here who have saved up many years, and Indians as well. And I saw several Indian people that were interviewed, and they said, you know, we feel betrayed. Why? We spent so much money. We saved so much money for many years or decades. Our whole family. We came here to Canada. We were working. We made money, but the costs have gone up so much. And not everything is as beautiful and as great as it is. Many things are beautiful and such, but there are not that many jobs here, as many people said. The jobs are not paying so much to cover all of the costs, so people have to pay like all loans and everything. And Canadians are leaving Canada as well because of different reasons, freedom and other things. We have, for example, nurses, Canadian nurses who are leaving Canada to work in America. They make way more money and everything is cheaper. This is why we need to import now more and more nurses from other countries such as Philippines. Let's start first with social welfare. It is important because some of you people maybe are from a poorer country, or maybe you have heard about the great social welfare. And also maybe you are like me, a person who has like an unhealthy body, you are sickly and such. So at some point you might need social welfare assistance. So let's talk about it. Here in Canada we do have social welfare, and it's actually pretty easy to apply and to receive it. I'm on social welfare right now, unfortunately, because I've been sick 4 years and Canada has given me support. The problem is with it is not much. It is actually very little bit. So I'm being honest with you, here in Saskatchewan I receive $1,025. Now it used to be just 2 years ago $860. That was so tight, and the only way I could actually survive was because I'm living with my dad, because he's the reason for it. Here in my city of Saskatoon, an average rent for a very cheap and bad one-bedroom apartment is around $1,000. Okay, $1,000. From the province, from the government, you receive $500. And then with $360, I was supposed to pay everything else. My food, my clothing and everything, transportation and such. There is of course a few things, such as you can get a discount on a card for driving with the bus. And here as well you receive a card with which you can go to swimming at certain places and fitness as well, which is good, right? But you need to buy your groceries and everything, and inflation has gone up, so the cost versus what you receive is very little. Compare that to Germany. Germany offers so much more. In Germany, first of all, Germany, because I'm from Germany, they give you an apartment, a good one usually, and it's paid by the government. Then you receive several €100 to pay for all of your foods and your needs. Furniture, yeah, they pay you furniture. If you don't have furniture, they pay for furniture. And every 7 years you can throw out all of your furniture, the government pays you new. And there's several different parts where you can receive money in Germany as well. Compared to Canada, it's way more. Healthcare problem. So I have been sick for 4 years, right? So I needed healthcare all the time. I'm seeing my doctor, it's for free. For you Americans, it's for free here in Canada. So every time I see my doctor, it's for free. It's amazing. And I was PR. Now I'm Canadian citizen. So before, even for permanent residents, it is for free. By the way, their social welfare money is also for permanent residents as well. Just so you know. Not only can I see my doctor, I can do blood tests, emergency treatments and such in the hospital. Surgery also covered by the government. This is amazing, right? Absolutely. And I'm so thankful and grateful for Canada and the Canadian people that I received all the different treatments in the last 4 years. I had to go to surgery. I was in the hospital several times. I had to do blood tests and scans of different parts of my body so many times now I can't even count, and they were every time covered by the government. Also, my medication is mostly covered by the Canadian government. Amazing. There are only a few medications I had to pay myself. Other than that, it was always covered by the government. Amazing. Thank you very much. I had to pay only a very little bit. So what seems then the problem with it, because it's a negative figure, right? Well, the issue is that now we have more and more people in Canada because immigration policy has been very nice to let people more and more in, like a lot. We had, I think last year, or was it over 400,000 people coming into Canada, which is a lot for a country with such a small population. And our infrastructure, healthcare as well, couldn't handle it. So now the waiting times are getting longer and longer year by year. Previously, at the beginning when I was sick, for example, I went to a scan and within the same day I could get an appointment. Then afterwards it was like 1 week, 2 weeks. Now this time I had to wait 3 weeks. I need to get it here scanned because I have pains and problems with my liver as well. Not an emergency, but it's kind of like you really need to know this very quickly if you have maybe stones in here that are trapped and maybe otherwise explode in your body, and then you need to go to the surgery surgery which is covered, but then it's an emergency, right? You want to know it. But unfortunately, waiting time for everything is now getting longer. My brother has been waiting now just to see his surgeon. He's already waited, I think, 4 months. I have been waiting for seeing my surgeon for a different operation now for, I don't even know, also like 4 months or so, I guess. Still nothing. After I see my surgeon, then I get maybe an appointment for a surgery, or I'm at least in the waiting line for the waiting line, okay? So now here we are in the waiting lines for the waiting line. So you're waiting until you can actually receive your official date, and then like once you receive your date, it is usually several months. When I had my gallbladder removed, it was like 2 years ago. I had to wait, I believe it was 5 months or so. The point is, my gallbladder was full with stones. I was in so much pain the whole time. It was discomforting, and sometimes the pain wasn't really that bad, and sometimes it was bad, but there was nothing to be done. A friend of mine, Canadian, said, well, if it gets really extremely bad, then you can hope it's an emergency. You just hop into the hospital and then they do the emergency surgery. But I was like, I don't want an emergency surgery, I just want a normal surgery. But this is now more happening. Some people are waiting months and they have to take medication just to cope, like to handle the pain, because they don't receive even the scans before you can do the actual surgery. Inflation also is a very big problem now in Canada. Previously it was not that bad, because I compared to Germany, where I saw many of my friends and family showed how much the prices went up there, and also for gasoline it went up by a lot. So now in Canada we are unfortunately matching it up. The prices for basic food such as sausage, chips and other things really going up crazy. Noodle, like the Chinese noodle, like the instant noodles, which are very cheap, they went up. Now some of them are double the price they used to be. This is something that is for poor people to buy and enjoy. I like them too. Well, I'm a poor person, right? But really, it's like something for basics. This has gone up by 30, 40 or like double the price. This is insane. It doesn't make much sense. Why doesn't it make much sense? Because here in Canada, we produce our own oil and gas. Well, at least Western Canada. Eastern Canada, they buy their own oil. They don't buy from us. It's a Canadian thing. It doesn't make much sense. But here in my province, it doesn't make much sense. The prices are so high because the oil and gas is from us. We are producing it. So the prices should be much lower, because in Germany the government is saying the prices are so high because of the energy prices, but energy prices in our provinces didn't go up at all. We have coal for our coal plants and everything, so we produce our own energy, not a problem. We also do not import any energy from abroad, from any other countries. Prices shouldn't go up. So why do they go up? Because billionaires and millionaires want to enrich themselves, so they increase the prices and saying, oh, every country is increasing prices, we have to do the same. But it's just greedy companies that are getting richer, billionaires. There's a growing division in Canada. For you foreigners, it doesn't seem like a really strange thing. I'm a foreigner as well, right? But for us foreigners, it is like, why do I care about that Canada is dividing? It is important, and I will explain why. First of all, what is it in Canada? So here's the first thing. Western Canada, so the provinces usually from Saskatchewan, Alberta especially, and BC as well, Manitoba can be set there as well. We have a problem with the main government in Ottawa, but also with Ontario and Quebec. The reason is there is a so-called equalization pay. That means provinces which make money give money to other provinces that don't have enough money. So we have always enough money in the whole of Canada. Sounds like a good thing, and I agree, it's a good thing. The problem is that other provinces apparently have used it to, well, make money. Here in Saskatchewan and in Alberta, we are looking after our money, so we don't overspend. We don't have huge projects, we don't build huge museums and other things. They are not very expensive, right? Because we are not building all those fancy buildings and everything, because we don't have railways and such that we need to take care of, because we don't have the population for this. Our costs are lower, and we want to save more money, and we want also to attract more people. Now the other provinces are doing it the other way around. Ontario and Quebec, they are spending money like there's no tomorrow. This is why then they don't have enough money. So they're like, hey, equalization pay, you gotta pay us. Alberta and Saskatchewan are saying enough is enough. We are building many things that we want in our provinces. We're not building them, but now maybe we should build them. And it has gotten so bad that previously few people were talking about, hey, maybe we should separate and join America. Now the province of Alberta, you might have heard it, actually said it out loud. We want to separate, and maybe we want to join America or being our own country. Previously everyone was laughing about it, or most people saying, it's not gonna happen, it's just a few people. Now the premier of Alberta is actually openly and officially talking about it, and they are looking for legal ways to separate from Canada. So don't think it is not gonna happen, it might happen. What is another way why this is so bad for us foreigners when we come to Canada if they separate and such. Well, you have to think, Alberta produces the most oil and gas in Canada. Oil, definitely by far. If Alberta goes away, which might happen, people saying, oh, that's not going to happen. From foreigner to foreigner, I can tell you, it is not impossible, and it might actually happen, and it's just, I think, a matter of time when it happens. So the problem is, when they go away, and Saskatchewan, my province here, will be the next. When that happens, the money will be gone from Canada, and everyone's like, oh my god, where do we get money from? The money that came from Saskatchewan came from Alberta, and went to the capital, went to the province of Ontario and Quebec. Oh well, we have to raise the money. So if you live over there, suddenly your province will have less money. There will be cuts everywhere. Maybe to immigration, they will maybe increase the amounts of what you need to pay for immigration. So this is like a problem. There are other divisional problems between Canadians. It's about politics, left and right, and other things. I cannot go into detail too much here. I can tell you that more and more Canadians are unfortunately kind of like fighting each other. They are not friends anymore, they're not neighbors anymore, and it is getting worse, really. However, the most important thing why this is bad, the division between different people in Canada and the Canadian provinces, is that Canadian provinces are now and have been not really collaborating with each other, because we are a confederation, we are not a country. This is different. This is very different. If you are from a country, especially like if you're, let's say, from China, where you have a central government and things are getting done. Canada is the other way around. We are not getting things done, because every province here has their own rights for many things, just as like healthcare and other things. Another province or the capital cannot even intervene or say, hey, you're going to do this and this, and we can say, no, according to our rights, we don't have to. This is a huge problem, so because mega projects such as pipelines are not being built. So Alberta, which is huge amounts of oil, like I mean insanely huge amounts, and my province of Saskatchewan, we also have a lot of oil. We could export it to outside of the world, sell it to Europe, sell it to Asia, but we cannot. Why? We are in the center of Canada. We need our pipelines to go through other provinces, other lands, and to the coast. Unfortunately, there are different kinds of groups who are preventing it and saying, either you pay us more money or you're not allowed to, or no, we don't like pipelines, we hate them, so no pipelines. This means we are losing a lot of money, so much money that we could right now earn. Also, it means a lot of jobs that we are not receiving. Now, because we are not doing all those pipelines and such, we have less jobs, we have less money in there. This also creates that our economy is not doing as well, because we have huge resources that we are not exploring, and some of the projects actually have been closed. There have been mines and pipelines that are trying for years and years, actually for decades, to open up and to increase. So the companies already spent millions of dollars, invested it, and did everything legally according to the law, and they should have gotten their pipelines, mines and everything, but they didn't. And then the government changed and said, like, you know what, the old laws, the old rules, we're changing them up, we're making it more difficult for you, and actually some of the pipelines, we just say you cannot do them anymore. And those companies were like, whoa, wait a minute, we followed the law, we followed the rules of Canada, and now you are just telling us no more pipelines, no more mines. Like, yes, we are not allowing you. So the companies left, the jobs left Canada. Not only did the companies just go and everything, the CEOs, so the bosses of the company said, you know what, we will never ever come back to Canada. And some people made fun of it in the news. I saw it like in Canada. The media was like, yeah. They're saying they're never coming back. What are they gonna do? Mine somewhere else? Take their oil from somewhere else? That's exactly what they did. They went to other countries such as America, Australia, to South America and such, and now they have oil and mining projects everywhere in the world, but not in Canada. And the CEO was asked, I saw one of them again, well, did you change your mind? Now maybe Canada's changing, so would you come back? And he's like, no, I told you before, I will never ever come back. He was clear, he said, we lost millions of dollars and years of preparation and everything. We talked with lawyers and everything, with government people. Afterwards, they were just like, no. He's like, for this, I will never forgive Canada and we will never come back. And you should remember this, because it means some companies will not return to Canada for the next years or maybe next decades. This also means the reputation of Canada has really a bad taste right now. So some of the reputation is gone. Canada was always a very good country to come to, do business. Things moved very slowly in Canada, but everything was according to law. So many companies said, like, I prefer to go to Canada. Yes, it is more expensive to mine here gold and whatnot and oil, but it is safe. safe, it's reliable, the government is constant and everything, they don't change their laws. So we are doing it in Canada, even though it's more expensive and we lose more money than compared to, let's say, we're doing it in Africa. But now that changed because the companies followed the rules, followed the laws changed, and the government people just said, no, we will not accept any mines. Even though they did everything according to law, had lawyers and everything, they still couldn't get it done. This hurt the reputation a lot. So other companies which never came actually to Canada are saying, we will never come to Canada because we know of your reputation. Also, we are lacking in Canada an overall Canadian plan. Now the new Prime Minister who we have right now here in Canada said he's building a Canadian plan. Sounds very good, right? But this is usually from politics. The politicians use really fancy words and nice to sound very great and grandeur. But how much are they actually doing, right? And the problem is the Canadian plan, it sounds good maybe a little bit, but it is nothing. Nothing compared to, I will say it again, China. Full disclosure, my wife is Chinese, I was in China. And man, I can tell you, not only what you saw in the media, the huge Chinese mega projects and so forth. I was in the city of Shenzhen. That's in the south coast. If you never heard about the city, it's huge and modern, so unbelievably modern. And I traveled a little bit in China. I was in Beijing. I was in 2 other cities, and those cities are not very large cities for China, but they were even there. They were modern. They had so many modern things and so much going on, so much development. And China is like, compared to Canada, China has strategies with its neighboring countries, how to do business, how to build new pipelines, how to build new railways and everything. We in Canada, nothing. There's no mega projects. It's the other way around. Mega projects are being talked here. They are being denied because of political reasons. We cannot do those pipelines. We cannot do this and this. So a lot of money is leaving also Canada.